What is up, guys? DT Ninja here to give you guys my RuroKen Hokkaido Arc Chapter 33 review. Okay, guys, this chapter was quite interesting, and I did not expect this, but yeah, Kanryu Takeda had some serious development in this chapter. And it all starts from that alias Gato Ringu. And we also got the reintroduction of his, weapon that he used in the past, the Gatling gun. And of course, we get him against Honda. That was not expected. I did not expect him to actually fight against Honda. So that was very interesting and unexpected. And I found it very, enjoyable to see Kanryu actually kind of have his redemption in this chapter. And there's some symbolism as well, so I enjoyed that. So there's kind of a deeper meaning as well. So I really like this chapter, and I like the progression of it all. You got the whole explosion, the aftermath, then you got the whole idea where, what the hell are we going to do? We don't know what we're going to do. We have no chance against Honda. And then just suddenly, it's like fate has called us together in Hokkaido. It's the Gatling gun. And they use the Gatling gun together. It's not just Kanryu using it, he uses it, Aran helps him. So you definitely see some progression in both of the characters, and I just really liked how they played it out. So yeah, before we get to the actual review, though, I want to share some new items that I got from Japan from the exhibition. So recently I got these art coasters from the exhibition. So this is an illustration art coaster. This is the family, obviously Hamura family, and it actually is a quote. It's an actual quote from the series, and this is from the Hokkaido arc, by the way. So pretty nice. Now this one is from the original, but each of them are different characters. There's one of Kenshin. There's another one from the Hokkaido arc. There are the, Ashitaro, Aran, and Asahi. And also Byakuya, Itakura. So, there are some really interesting items that I picked up. If you guys want to check out the whole video, I put it on my Facebook page. I'll just leave it in the description where you guys can check it out. I also picked up, just today, the catalog for the exhibition. So this is the catalog, the illustrations showing some of the exhibits in the exhibition. So really cool stuff. This is actually one of the pamphlets you get. So it came with this, so pretty cool. And when you open it up, it's kind of got like the explanation of what the exhibits are and kind of that. So that's really cool. I just wanted to share that with you. I have not opened the book yet. Give you guys a brief look at what the catalog looks like. So that's what the catalog looks like. And you can see it's unopened. I have not opened it yet. I'm probably going to open it tonight. But yeah, pretty cool. Okay, guys. So pros and cons of this chapter. Great character development on Kanryu. Kanryu had some great character development. And it wasn't just him alone. There were other characters that influenced him, and I'm going to get to that in my review. Redemption. Of course, every character, is not going to be redeemed, but I feel like this campaign in Otaro, this whole year that has been on Otaro, I feel like his development has been progressing, and I feel like this chapter is the one that we really see his redemption. And there's also symbolic, because I feel like the Gatling gun itself represents his old self, the one that did all the bad things in the past, the illegal acts, killing people, and then he's able to move forward as a better person. So that's what I really liked about it. We get the whole battle with him and Honda, but Honda actually goes Sekiriki. He goes the brilliance, his trump card, and that was really interesting to see as well. Now, the cons of the chapter, I would have to say that it was heavily focused on Otaru, and Otaru has been the focus mostly this year and last year, in fact. So we haven't seen what's going on in Hakodate. What is Sojiro? What is Anji up to? What is in Sapporo? What is Eiji? What is Nagakura? What is Saito doing? There are a lot of characters that in this arc that we should be touching on, and that's the only negative I see in this chapter per se. But as far as a chapter goes, development wise, it was an awesome chapter. Great development, great action, unexpected. I did not see it coming, so that made it even more enjoyable. But yeah, I enjoyed it, even though it was on Kanryu and unexpected. Things that I noticed, noteworthy things in the chapter. So Kanryu's alias, Gato Ringu. We got a hint at this guy who's selling swords for the Kinkaku Heki, right? Gato Ringu. It ends up being Gato Ringu. And now we find out that Kanryu is this person, right? That was back in chapter 25. Now, what's interesting about this is that in chapter 25, Kenshin learns that his full name is Gato Ringu. And before he goes in the house, he actually says, "Who in the world are you? Gato Ringu." And I was just thinking, oh, it's a name. It's just a name. So I looked up the kanji and I was like, okay, it's just a name. There's no meaning behind it. No. If you read it, Gatoringu, Gatling, literally Gatling gun. The whole time, Watsuki has been telling us that there's a hint. Gatling gun is kind of the hint, the alias of Kanryu. And not only that, in the chapter 25, it actually shows us that that the Gatling gun is actually right in the center. You can actually see it. And it looks similar in this chapter as well, but the Gatling gun was there. That man Kanryu, that chapter right there, it actually has the Gatling gun in the center. So all along, Gato Ringu was Gatling. So the fact that the Gatling just happened to be on the battlefield, the broken box, and that was like desperation. They were looking for something to fight against Honda, and it was just like fate. It's like Gatling all along is connected to Kanryu, so it just made sense. And I found that awesome that, he used that past memory and, kind of this symbolism to actually, develop his character. So pretty cool. And like I said, mind blown, because I did not expect that. I did not realize that until I was translating the first page of this chapter. So, okay, the next one. Aran saves Kanryu from the explosion. Now, obviously, they're kind of master and student, but not just that, they're right next to each other. So if you're right next to each other, of course, you're going to try to help each other. But this is like an explosion. I mean, you got literally seconds to decide. Aran literally grabs Kanryu and jumps into a tent. But what's interesting is you see literally he's just dashing. And he's got him in his arms and he jumps. So I'm like, this is a kid that's doing that. This is crazy. Is he like a superhero? So I found that really interesting that it was actually the student rescuing the master or his teacher. So that was interesting. And, Aran is still one of my favorite new characters. And that's another reason why. It's just awesome. But yeah. Number 3, Ajitaro was left to burn. Literally, after he drew the Mugenjin and the fire lit and the explosion happened, he was left just to feel the explosion. He literally took the brunt of the explosion and fell backwards, and you see this huge hole, and he's just like, "You tried to kill me, Aran. What the hell? Where are you, you bastard?" So that was really funny. But at the same time, if you think about it, Ashitaro didn't know what's going on. Kenshin didn't know what's going on. So they were used in Aran's plan. So that was very interesting. Now, on to the next one. Aran knew that Ashitaro would be okay. I mean, it's his best friend, of course. He knew that he was going to be okay. He actually set the plan in motion for Ashitaro to be a diversion. Not just a diversion, but to fight near the water. There's like waterway there, and he was fighting against all the Yami Nobu, and it was on the water, so he got wet. So Aran already knew that he was already soaking wet when that explosion went off, so he had a feeling that his friend was going to be okay. So he took that into account, and I like that about him. You know, he's very smart, strategic, and he has a backup plan. I like that. Ashitaro, he also mentions another reason. He says Ashitaro has a strange affinity for the Mugenjin. Now, what he means by that is that he's very strong, like the sword, but also the last time he found it, it was by accident, but literally it saved his life. I mean, it was when Shishio died that day when he burned alive. But I mean, like, it's very interesting that he mentions that because, I mean, yeah, it is true. He does have this affinity for that sword. So that's another reason he thought that he would be okay. Okay, the next thing, number 6, Kanryu cares more about Gato's crest and name than money. And that's crazy because making money is Kanryu Takeda. So this crest that he created, that he put on all of his stuff after being, getting out of jail and trying to start, a better life for himself. This crest means more to him than money. It's like himself. It's something very important to him. And I found that interesting that it's more valuable than money itself. And he mentions this several times. Okay, Kanryu doesn't want to kill others anymore. Like Kenshin. Now, why do I say this? Because he literally says this in 2 chapters. Chapter 29, he says it. He says to Honda, he says he has like a rifle in his hand. And he says, "I don't want to kill you, but I need it in writing that you borrowed my name and crest." He literally tells him, "I'm not going to kill you." And then when he has the Gatling gun in this chapter, he literally tells him again, "I'm not going to kill you. I need it in writing that you're going to, take, what is mine." So I found that interesting because I feel like it might be an influence from Kenshin. Remember, Kenshin spared his life. Remember when he broke the handle on his Gatling gun and he said, "Please don't kill me, please don't kill me." I feel like even though he showed him mercy, he even tells him, you're lucky that I'm showing you such mercy in this chapter to the enemy. So like you can definitely see some parallels there. So I found that interesting. Even though he hates the Batosai, that he saved him and he'd rather die than be saved by him, you can see he's been influenced by him a little bit more and more. So we see that in the chapter. So I found that interesting. The next thing, the Gatling gun was used in the Battle of Hakodate. So this was mentioned by Honda himself. So the one in the box that apparently is an old relic of the past. So literally it was used in the Battle of Hakodate. He wasn't even sure it actually worked. So he was very surprised that Kanryu would use it against Honda, a weaponized swordsman of the Kinkaku Heki. So I found that interesting, but also it also refers, the actual Gatling gun, like I said, it kind of represents Kanryu's old self, the past, his, the self that committed crimes and killed people in the past. So I feel like finding it on the battlefield is like seeing your old self again, and he wanted to be that person one last time in order to get rid or defeat, the enemy in front of him. So very interesting stuff. Okay, the next one, Honda's Sekiriki doubled the number of books. So literally he's, got the book in his hand, and he's always writing. Well, when he does Sekiriki, which shows the blood vessels, which is brilliant, by the way. He literally has the trump card, and suddenly two books appear. So originally one book and one pen is showing. Then he has two books. Literally, they're floating in midair. Like literally, they're floating. And he's got two pens, and he's using them. So it's actually, the Sekiriki is actually related to the actual weapons of the Kinkaku Heki. So that's very interesting as well. So we learn a little bit more about Sekiriki. So I found that interesting, but also it kind of makes you wonder, is that kind of like black magic? What is going on there? He's literally using books while they're kind of floating. So anyways, it was interesting, but different. That's what I like about the Kinkaku Heki. The weapons are different, but they're unique. Each one is unique, even if it doesn't make sense. It is interesting. So yeah. Next one, Kanryu learned from his past mistakes. Now, what's interesting about this is that the enemy literally says, "You frickin' moron. You use too much ammo. That's your weakness. This is a Gatling gun. It goes really fast, but it runs out of ammo. You're making the same mistake you did 5 years ago." And what's interesting about this is like he was listening in, and he's like, "Disciple." And of course, he's talking about Iran, and Iran comes running over with a new magazine and literally, puts it in place. And the enemy is like, "What the hell? Like, where did he get that?" And so he got a whole new spray of bullets. And of course, he just unloads on the enemy, and the enemy just gets hit over and over and over again. Now, of course, I don't think he's, dead or anything like that. But I mean, it was awesome to see, because it also showed that he, trusts others. He's relying on others. He's not selfish. He's not being on his own anymore. So you do see progression in that, and that was interesting. Okay, the next thing.
Where did you get that thing, Kanryu? You'll address me as Lord Kanryu, you low-life gorilla!
Okay, so as you guys can see in the anime clip that I shared there, he calls him a gorilla. Now, in the anime, it's different. He adds that. But in the manga, it's just, "You'll address me as Lord Kanryu." He literally says this in the fight with the Oniwaban. I found that interesting that he used the same thing in the past to kind of use it against, the enemy here with Kinkaku Heki. So I noticed it. Okay, Kenshin was in disbelief that Kanryu changed. Now, I found this interesting as well because, you get, he's in disbelief. Obviously, he's in shock, right? And then you got Ron, who's very excited. He's, that was exhilarating. I was a part of something really cool. And, Kanryu is like, "Yeah, there's nothing like it. The climax, the feeling of complete destruction. Once you get a taste of it, you can't get enough of it." So, like, Kenshin just rushes over there because he thinks he's just gonna, do something crazy. And I mean, it kind of gave you that vibe that he's kind of his old self, but then suddenly he drops his hand off the, the handle, and he's like, "You know what? But Gatling guns are illegal." And he says, "This is the last time." And that's when he says farewell to, the Gatling gun. So that was really shocking, but, at the same time, it was very interesting. I found it, great for his character, But I agree that, Kenshin probably wouldn't trust him because, I mean, he went for his words, but really it took him to see him actually say, Gatling guns are illegal and drop his hand from, the handle, all of that, and look back on everything that's happened in the Utaro to really understand that Kanryu is serious about changing. So, yeah. Okay, the last thing, the Gatling gun represents his former self. Now, I did talk about this a little bit earlier, but I feel like this is about kind of a love story. He kind of goes on, he says, "You and I live in different worlds. We can't be together anymore. You're still the best. You know, and my feelings for you are engraved in the name of and crest of Gato Ringu. I'm going to start fresh with my heart on my sleeve. And then he says, farewell, my beloved Gatling gun. So, but I feel like it's not just like a weapon to him. It's not just a weapon. It's something more. I feel like it's actually his old self. He's actually referring to his old self because he's actually talking to himself. He's actually not talking to them. So it's kind of an inner monologue. So I feel like he's actually referring to his old self. I mean, he's even said, I'll make a fresh start with my heart on my sleeve, which means he's no longer going to hide things from people. And we've already seen him open up about his past, so we know that's for sure. And the whole idea with his feelings being engraved, that's kind of a hidden thing, I believe. Now, obviously, the Gato crest represents elegance, high class, which is something that Kanryu was never in the past. And I feel that's why he created that crest. And those feelings are within that crest, which is interesting. Now, in the discussion that I'm going to do, I'm going to go over some more interesting things like Kanryu's name. Like there's some meaning behind the name, and it might give us some more understanding of why his name is in the crest itself. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for the review. On to the discussion for next week. There will be color scans like always. Why Kanryu? That's definitely going to be something I'm going to discuss further. What was the reason, the detailed reason why Kanryu was developed? How did he change? Who helped him change? Will Honda be eliminated by the Kinkaku Heki commander? Because the commander's still out there, but it seems like Honda's down and out, so we'll see. And hopefully, this review did, give me some more ideas for more questions. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, and look forward to more Kenshin news on my page, DT Ninja 831 on Facebook. I will be doing a video, like I said, on the exhibition book, the catalog, so definitely look for that coming soon. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I will see you guys in the next one.